Yo guys, quick update. Basically, what I think will happen next year, a few political updates about what's happening right now with Trump and monetary policy. So basically, we know that the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, his term is actually ending in May 2026, so in a few months, and that's a big move coming up. And Trump is basically looking to put someone in power who is gonna do what he says, right? He basically wants someone who is pro his policies, meaning someone who will lower the interest rates, because the government actually has approximately $38 trillion of debt right now. So if the interest rates are lower, it's going to also benefit them pay off these debts and of course help Trump get re-elected. And that's what we want, right? We not necessarily about the Trump thing, but we want the rates to go down for Bitcoin to go up, right? Now, the second thing I want to talk about is basically Trump has ordered $200 billion to be spent on purchasing mortgage-backed securities. So these are basically investments. When you have a mortgage at the bank, then your mortgage is sold to, is bundled together with other mortgages and sold to investors. And the 5%, for example, interest that you pay on your mortgage then goes to these investors. And the bank gets instant money, which they can then use again to lend to new people. And this way the cycle continues. So that's how normally it works with mortgages. The bank is not keeping the interest that you pay. They actually sell your mortgage. The interest goes to the investor, and the investor pays them a bit more than the mortgage value, and they make a small profit. So that's what the bank does. Now, if we have $200 billion that Trump has ordered to going into these mortgage-backed securities, as the price of the mortgage-backed securities goes up because of the demand, the yield goes down. If the yield of these mortgage-backed securities goes down, this usually means that interest rates are down, meaning that the rates for your mortgage will go down, right? And this is basically an artificial way of lowering the interest rates. So Trump is really trying to lower the rates right now. And by doing so, mortgages will become cheaper for everyday consumers, and the banks will lower their rates. And as a result, of course, there will be more spending in the economy. More people will buy Bitcoin and other assets. Now, another thing to note is that we have had some other things like the One Big Beautiful Bill. And of course, that is for tip workers, people who earn tips. If you earn up to $25,000, can now be tax-free on tips. And I know this video is a bit more informative, but let's go through it anyways. We're gonna come to Bitcoin briefly at the end. And then also there's a push to cap credit card interest at 10%. So this would be a big deal for many people who are in high interest debt, and they have then extra cash which they can put into the stock market or Bitcoin. So essentially, a lot of different things are happening to push us to quantitative easing and to lower the interest rates and print more money essentially. And finally, Trump is actually, what's happening with Greenland, that the US is trying to gain the land of Greenland and make that part of the US. Trump has proposed that they pay each person in Greenland a certain amount of money for them as compensation. And of course, where would that money come from? Well, it will be printed by the Federal Reserve, and that would then again bring more inflation, more money in the system, which would just raise prices. And finally, let's talk about Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, there's a CME gap. We have actually gone down a bit. We're at around 90,000 right now for Bitcoin. We still have a CME gap at around about $88,200, and we are yet to touch it. I think we are going to touch it eventually. And now finally, as a concluding thing for this video, because of all the expectations for quantitative easing and lower rates, more money printing, more money in the economy, I think we will not have an 80% crash as we usually have in the bear markets. I think this time we will just have basically a consolidation this year, we go down slowly, we consolidate. But then next year, I think when the liquidity starts coming in the market and the rates drop, and let's see what happens with the new chairman of the Federal Reserve. And once the rates drop, I think we're gonna have an explosion in the market, but I don't think we're gonna have an 80% drop for Bitcoin, just like we had the last few cycles. Hope you guys liked the video. See you guys next time. Bye.